Okay, so now that I've finished all three books in Jenny McLaughlin's Roar series, The Land of Roar, Return to Roar, and The Battle for Roar, I feel like I've been on such a wild, magical journey, and I don't think I was ready to say goodbye when I turned that last page. So, I wanted to sit down and do a proper wrap-up of the entire series, because there's so much to love, and honestly, the way the books grow and build on each other is just brilliant. Let's go all the way back to the Land of Roar. This first book is all about rediscovery. Arthur and Rose stumble back into this world they thought was just childhood make-believe. And the beauty of that is it taps into something every reader can connect with. Who didn't invent their own imaginary worlds as a kid? That first book has this really nostalgic feel, but it's also fun, exciting, and a little bit scary. Croaky makes his entrance here, and he's such a perfectly terrifying villain because he's literally made of fear. I loved how Jenny captured that. The idea that the monsters in your imagination are only as strong as the fear you give them. The story takes on bigger stakes, and the siblings' relationship really starts to shine. Rose is more skeptical, Arthur is more reckless, but you can see how much they need each other to survive in Roar. Croaky also gets creepier in this book. He's cleverer, more dangerous, and it feels like the kids can't just laugh him away anymore. I loved how the story explored that shift from childhood imagination into something a little more grown up. Plus, the world itself expands. We get more dragons, more magic, more challenges, and you can feel Jenny McLaughlin saying, okay, you know Roar now, but let me show you just how much bigger and scarier it really is. And then we hit the Battle for Roar. Honestly, this felt like the epic finale we'd been building towards since page 1. Arthur really comes into his own here. He isn't just the little boy playing at being a hero, he is the hero. His bravery feels earned because of everything he's been through in the last 2 books. And Rose, oh, I adored Rose's arc. In book 1, she was the sensible one, the doubter, the logical sibling who thought she was too old for imaginary games. By book 3, she's fighting just as hard as Arthur to save Roar because she believes in it. That shift was so satisfying to see. And of course, we can't forget Wynn, the ninja wizard, or Mitch, the dragon. Mitch, in particular, was one of my favorite characters across all 3 books. His loyalty and warmth brought so much heart to the series. And Wynn, with all his oddball humor, was the perfect comic relief while still being brave in his own way. Croaky in book 3? Wow. He was at his scariest. This wasn't just about being afraid of the dark anymore. This was about facing real, deep fears. And that final battle, it had everything. The danger, the tension, the emotion, but it also gave us that perfect resolution. Without spoiling every last detail, I'll just say, the ending was bittersweet, but hopeful. It closed the story beautifully while leaving you with that spark of imagination. That reminder that Roar doesn't just disappear when you close the book. So, looking at the trilogy as a whole, what makes it so special is that it grows with the reader. It starts with a simple idea. Imagination is powerful. And then layers on themes of bravery, growing up, facing fears, and holding on to wonder even when the world tells you to let it go. I think whether you're 8 or 80, there's something to love here as for a rating. I'd give the series as a whole 4.5 stars. The first book had that whimsical magic, the second raised the stakes, and the third gave us the payoff we were waiting for. It's a near-perfect children's series, and honestly, one I'd happily reread. Closing the final page of The Battle for Roar felt like saying goodbye to old friends. Arthur, Rose, Wynn, Mitch, and even Croaky in his own way, they're the kind of characters who stay with you. And Roar itself? Well, Roar is the kind of world that reminds you your imagination is still alive, no matter how old you are. So, if you haven't finished the series yet, I highly recommend doing it. It's adventurous, it's heartfelt, it's a little spooky, and it's full of that magic spark that makes books unforgettable. And that's it. That's the end of the Land of Roar series. I can't believe we finished the Land of Roar, Return to Roar, and the Battle for Roar. What a journey it's been. Saying goodbye to this series honestly feels like saying goodbye to old friends. Arthur, Rose, Wynn, Mitch, and even Croaky. They've all become such a big part of this adventure, and I loved growing with them across all 3 books. What I adore most about Jenny McLaughlin's world is that it doesn't really end. Sure, we've closed the final chapter, but Roar is one of those places that stays with you. It lives in your imagination. in that little spark that reminds you that magic, adventure, and bravery are always just a thought away. So, while this is the last time we'll visit Roar together on the channel, the story doesn't have to stop here. If you've read the series, let me know your favorite moments in the comments. Was it Crokey's terrifying schemes, Rose finally believing in Roar, or Arthur's big heroic moments? I'd love to hear what made the series special for you. Thank you so much for joining me on this magical ride through the skies with dragons, ninja wizards, and shadowy villains. Roar has been such a joy to read, and I'm so glad I got to share it with you all. And of course, if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that little bell so you don't miss the next adventure. Because even though we're saying goodbye to Roar, there are plenty more stories waiting to be discovered. So, until the next book, keep your imagination alive and never stop believing in a little bit of magic. Bye, Roar!